ready?
Yes, sir.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of your Board of Commissioners tonight on September 16th. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Tonight, we're going to have our invocation by our county manager, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Very good. We'll ask everyone to stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you are able, please stand.
If you would please bow your head. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for all your gifts and wisdom that you give to us to make good decisions on behalf of our populace in Rockingham County. Please help us to turn to you and search for answers so that when decisions are made, they are made for what's pleasing to you. Look after our Board of Commissioners and our staff to provide the leadership that you have asked them to do on your behalf, and help our board make decisions that will make positive impacts to our community. We ask that you bless us, look over us, and give us strength to lead with honesty and integrity. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Please remain standing. And tonight, our Pledge of Allegiance will be delivered by Raylan Manus. She's 8 years old. She's in the 3rd grade at Greater Vision Academy. Ms. Manus, if you'll make your way to the podium and lead us in the pledge, we'll appreciate it. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great job. Thank you. Be seated. I'm going to ask Morgan Manus if she'll make her way and introduce item number 4.
I would like to introduce one of our 4-H members, Kinley Johnson. She is going to come up and speak with you guys about the adoption of our proclamation.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come and speak about the 4-H program tonight. My name is Kinley Johnson. I'm a junior in high school at Cornerstone Charter Academy. I joined 4-H 2 years ago, and while I haven't been in 4-H long, it's made a tremendous impact on my life. 4-H began in 1909 when the North Carolina State College signed an agreement with the United States Department of Agriculture. This created the Farmers Boy Clubs, which was the foundation of the 4-H program. Over the years, more divisions of 4-H were developed, the early of which being a poultry club and a swine club. In 1911, the first girls' clubs were founded and focused primarily on canning and gardening. With the passage of the Smith-Lever Act in 1914, 4-H was nationalized and the cooperative extension system was established. By 1924, 4-H clubs have been started all over the country, and the 4-H leaf clover emblem have been adapted. The emblem that was chosen to represent 4-H is a 4-leaf clover with 4 white H's on each leaf. Those H's stand for heart, hands, health, and head. These words were chosen to be on the clover because 4-H members are expected to pledge their heart, hands, health, and head to making 4-H and our world better. 4-H members strive to live by our motto, to make the best better, and our slogan, learning by doing. These ideals are not just words on paper, they are words that we live by and exemplify in our communities. Unknown to many Americans, 4-H is one of the largest youth development organizations in the United States. There are over 6 million young people involved in 4-H across the country, and 261,000 of those young people are from our state of North Carolina. In Rockingham County, we impact about 2,600 youth every year. There are about 8 different 4-H clubs in Rockingham County, ranging from livestock clubs to various community-driven clubs. 4-H and its participants would not have the opportunity to be as successful as they are without the constant support from our agents, leaders, volunteers, and families. Being a part of 4-H has changed my lives in numerous ways. It has given me the confidence to stand in front of you today and speak. It has encouraged me to pursue my dreams and my passions. I have learned how to become a better leader and been taught vital social skills that I never would have learned otherwise. 4-H has also taught me to set attainable goals and advocate for myself. While I have countless memories I could share about 4-H, I would like to share some of the most important and impactful moments from my years in 4-H. I am part of the Shiloh 4-H Club, where we take part in community service, livestock shows, skill-a-thon contests, livestock judging contests, and quiz bowls. I also compete in writing and photography contests through 4-H and was just named the state champion in the horse short story and horse poetry contest. Over the summer, I was able to attend livestock science camp at North Carolina State University. At this camp, I was able to learn about different species of livestock, take part in labs, and visit multiple different farms across our great state. I was even able to deliver baby pigs. Without the support of my 4-H leader and my fellow members of 4-H, I wouldn't have been able to take part in this amazing camp that has taught me so much. Even though I do so much through 4-H, my favorite part is livestock shows. I show goats with my little sister and brother, and most of the people in my 4-H club also show livestock with us. The most rewarding part of showing my livestock is seeing my projects and I start to consistently win at shows. And I also love growing in my relationships with my animals. Livestock shows have brought me some of the greatest friendships I have, and that is overall my favorite thing about 4-H. Thank you for your time tonight, and I hope that today you've learned a little bit about the wonderful organization that is 4-H. I would now like the Rockingham County Commissioners to proclaim October 6th through October 12th, 2024, the National 4-H Week in Rockingham County.
Thank you so much. You did a great job tonight, Ms. Johnson. I will. Gentlemen, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Also, want to recognize Ms. Johnson for attendance in Youth Voice 2024 at the NCACC Youth Summit. Thank you. And, yeah, that was Riley, if you'll stand. That's right, different Johnson. Very good. Well, thank you. We appreciate you being here as well. Thank you. Congratulations. And
I was fortunate enough to be at the same conference that Riley Johnson was at, and I can assure the citizens of Rockingham County that she represented us extremely well. And I hope she had a good time, and she learned something about personalities through the color exercise. And her sister is wearing a trophy belt buckle. I think you need to tell people why you have that trophy belt buckle.
So like I said, this is the buckle for reference. I show goats through 4-H. We go to a lot of shows throughout the year. I think we've been to about 10 or 11 so far this year. And in early June, my family and I went to the Northwest Junior Livestock Show. I was named the Grand Champion Senior Showman, and then for goats, and then went into a drive for all the senior showmen went together, and I had to show a sheep, a goat, a pig, and a cow. And out of that very talented group of senior showmen, I was the reserve grand champion in the overall drive. So that's where my buckle came from.
Ms. Johnson, if you will, come this way just a little bit and face me. That's good. Face me. I want that camera. Change it.
What do I do now?
You're good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Roy.
Blushing if you're able.
Can we take a picture with you guys with all of our kids here?
Yes, you can.
I think that would be great. I think that would be great. Yeah, come on around.
Information officer for the county too, so.
You go up there, guys.
You two got to be front row center.
I'm too tall for that.
All right, very good.
That doesn't happen all.
Smile. All right, good job.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All you being here.
Where is Rebecca? Where is Rebecca? Oh, I got it started at the end of the month.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I could, I'd like to say that I believe that Rockingham County is one of 2 counties in North Carolina that has a 4-H camp here in our county every summer, which is a great thing for Rockingham County.
It It is a wonderful asset, and Morgan does such a great job with the program, so we appreciate her service and dedication to the community. With that, the next item on our list is a recognition, and we'll let our county manager, Lance Metzler, deliver this.
Yes, sir. Actually, there are two recognitions, one for you all and one for our honorable House Representative Reese Pirtle that I would want to read as well. The first one's for you all to consider for approval. Resolution honoring the dedicated service of Patricia Pat Galloway. Whereas Patricia Galloway, Pat, began her career as a certified public accountant in 1987, working as a staff accountant for a firm in Southport, North Carolina, later became assistant finance director for Brunswick County for 12 years, and then served as finance director for the town of Oak Island for 5 years before moving to be closer to her family in Kernersville. And whereas Pat began working for the Rockingham County Finance Office on November the 8th, 2011, and was instrumental in helping the county transition to a new software system in 2014. Whereas Pat is an active member of both the North Carolina Finance Officers Association and the Government Finance Officer Association, a national organization which has awarded Rockingham County certificates of achievements for excellence in financial reporting 2012 through 2023. Whereas 2023 was the first year that the Rockingham County Finance Office wrote the required financial statements independently of the auditor, which is strongly encouraged by the state but rare for more rural areas of North Carolina, with Pat working countless overtime hours due to the time commitments required to complete the financial reporting and the overall general demands of her position. And whereas Pat Galloway has served as an example of a leader that has encouraged and supported her staff in achieving numerous certifications to empower them to do their job. And as staff stated, she does not micromanage, but is always available for questions and to help, treating everyone with respect. And whereas in addition to her service to the finance office, Pat has worked part-time over the last few years with the Greg W. Isley CPA firm, helping local governments with their training on North Carolina local government finance. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Rockingham County Board of Commissioners that Patricia Pat Galloway be honored for 13 years of faithful and exemplary service as Director of Financial Services, benefiting Rockingham County and its citizens, and wishes her well as she continues her career in finance. This, the 16th day of November, 2024. Mr. Sheriff?
Thank you. Folks, do we have a motion to approve this resolution honoring Pat Galloway?
Make a motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
And
Mr. Manager?
I'll read this one from the North Carolina General Assembly, Certificate of Acknowledgement and Congratulations. Whereas Patricia Galloway Pat began working for the Rockingham County Finance Office on November 28, 2011, whereas Pat was instrumental in helping the Finance Office transition to a new software system, and whereas Pat is a member of both the North Carolina Finance Officers Association and the National Government Finance Officers Association, awarding Rockingham County certificates of achievement for excellence in finance reporting 2012 through 2023. And whereas Pat continued to work countless overtime hours to complete the newly encouraged but rare for rural counties financial statements independently of the auditor. Whereas Pat has additionally worked part-time with the Greg W. Isley CPA firm, helping local governments with training on North Carolina local government finance. And whereas Pat has dedicated 13 years of faithful and exemplary service to the Rockingham County Finance Office, and whereas Pat has served as an example of a supportive and encouraging leader as the Director of Financial Services. Now, therefore, this 16th day of September in the year 2023, Representative Reese Pirtle Jr. extends his sincere congratulations and appreciation to Pat Galloway on this, the occasion of her retirement from her position as the Rockingham County Director of Financial Services. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Pat, congratulations to you. We appreciate you and wish you well. Gentlemen, any comments?
Yeah, I'd like to make one, Mr. Chair. Pat's one of these public servants that you don't see so much, but if she didn't do her job well, it would be very difficult for us to make any sort of help. I'll point out one example is two of our commissioners were working in concert with the school system to come up with a long-term management plan, and all through that, this management of maintenance plan, which was absolutely essential for the quality of the physical plant of our schools within the county. Pat kept all the numbers right, kept us all square. And over and over again, especially at budget time, she made it right. And so there's no way to thank her enough. And she put together a tremendous staff. If you want to get somebody that can help you hire the right person, she's the one. And so I personally am very impressed with her.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner. Any other comments?
Well, I agree with what Commissioner Richardson said completely. I mean, we've been very fortunate over the years to have Pat and her knowledge, her experience, and she'll be missed, but I know we've got some other folks that are ready and willing to fill those shoes. But thank you, Ms. Galloway.
Yes, just let me say that I echo the comments of both my commissioner friends here. Pat has done a tremendous job, and you could always put a lot of credence and confidence in what she brought to you. She was very instrumental in helping the schools develop a plan to, as Mark said, to take care of some of their maintenance needs. And she's always been very willing and able to work out issues. I believe it was last year that I had to spend some amount of time with her on the phone over the water and sewer stuff because our position with the state on it. And she come back and was able to make some changes that eliminated that for us. And so I would be eternally grateful to her for getting me off of that phone call. So congratulations to Pat. You did a great job, and I wish you well in your future endeavors.
Very well. The next item on our agenda is item 6, approval of the September 16th agenda. Do we have any changes?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to amend the agenda to remove item number 11, the presentation by VIA Health representative.
Very good. So we have a motion with a recommendation to remove item 11. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Very good. We have an approved agenda. Next item, number 7, is our consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are non-controversial items. However, if anyone has any question about the items on the list, please contact Lance Metzler, our county manager. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Very good. We have a approved consent agenda. Item number 8 is old business, and I'll recognize our county attorney, Clyde Albright. Mr. Albright.
On the September 3rd meeting during the public comment period, a statement was made that was factually incorrect. The speaker stated she was appointed to a 3-year term on the planning board ending September 30th of 2024. I checked the records, and you can see from the August 17th, 2021 letter, the speaker was notified of her appointment to the planning board for a 2-year term ending on September 30, 2023. So the statement that she made being removed before her term expired was incorrect. Thank you.
Thank you, Clyde. We appreciate that. Next item on our list, you want to go back to the other menu, Allison? Next item on our list is public comment. We do have someone lined up to speak tonight for public comment. So Lance, we're really going to give you a voice of workout again.
Okay, sure, no problem. The public comment period shall be for the purpose of allowing members of the public to present any matter pertaining to county business or items on the Board of Commissioners' agenda. Remarks shall be addressed directly to the Board of Commissioners and not to the staff, the audience, or media. The chairperson shall open the public comment period. Any speaker who wishes to speak shall approach the podium and not speak from his or her seat. Each speaker shall clearly state his or her name and physical address when he or she approaches the podium. Each citizen shall be allotted 3 minutes. Citizens will be allowed to yield their time on a specific topic by utilizing one more attendee's time. This will allow no more than 6 minutes. The total amount of time allotted for the public comment period is 30 minutes. Your time will be displayed on the monitor in front of you. The clock will start with 3 minutes unless yielded time to 6 minutes. You will hear a beep at 1 minute to alert you to wrap up your comments. If you are to yield time or time is yielded to you, then please let the chairman know in advance. Speakers appearing will not be allowed to campaign for public office, promote private business ventures, or use language of a personal nature which insults or demeans any person or which, when directed at a public official, is not related to his or her official duties. The Board of Commissioners may accept written comments in lieu of oral statements. Written statements can be delivered to the county manager's office. Mr. Chair.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Manager. Tonight, we have one person signed up to speak, Mr. Malcolm Allen. If you'll make your way to the podium, state your name and address.
My name is Malcolm Allen, and I live at 770 Eden, North Carolina. And thank you all for this opportunity to speak tonight. First of all, I want to give kudos to those 4-H club members that were here. I can relate to them because when I was growing up, we were responsible for growing livestock. And although I never did get a belt buckle, I got quite a few good meals. So I can relate to that. But as I speak to you tonight, as we are constantly denied much-needed services in Rockingham County because of a budget which we here won't allow it, we incur an $15,000 expense because someone couldn't make their mind up whether to run or not, or drop out of a presidential race. Even though you weren't responsible, again, we are showing that this county is being ran so much from Raleigh. I try to be lenient on RFK Jr. because of the dead worm on his brain. But I will not be on the party that allows his costly action, nor the person that appoints him to a presidential cabinet as he's been promised. Property owners in Rockingham County were heavily hit with tax increases, many elderly on fixed incomes, but to accommodate a group or a party after a normal deadline, we spend $15,000 of county taxpayer money. Special note, when a person prior to printing fought to be on the ballot, they could only be added as an independent. Voters expect elected officials to be good stewards of taxpayer money. These radical decisions made in Raleigh should be financed there by the man with the worm on his brain. Now, Board of Elections, I give them kudos because they fought to do what's best for the county. But again, they were dictated by the people in Raleigh. Please remember this in November. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Our next item on the list is number 10, public hearings. And the first one will be Bill Lester, LKC Engineering.
Chairman and Board, this is a public hearing to amend your current open CDBG grant. This CDBG grant was coronavirus funded. It was originally funded for a public service benefit to low and moderate income persons to provide them for payments for rent and mortgage to, prevent them from being displaced or losing their homes. The county partnered with United Way, you may recall. There appeared to be a lot of need. There was a lot of this payment being made through certain organizations, but the reality was the county staff and United Way were unable to spend the bulk of that funding with eligible applicants. It was a very deliberate process, to make sure people could not get that anywhere else. So what we've done, and we've done this quite honestly, I think Lance would agree, for over a year, tried to either maybe give the money back or find another use for it, because obviously what the use was for, we didn't have anything near that. So after a lot of samples, things we tried, probably dozens, different areas of the county. One thing that, with the help of the CDBG staff, they started pointing to maybe try this. We found a low and moderate income area. You've got to meet a national objective for them to approve it, and there's very few areas in the county. There's pockets, but the town of Mayodan is a low and moderate income at 52.4%, and I think areas of Reedsville, I do not remember the exact numbers. I think Reedsville had their own funding similar to this. So looking for some outdoor activity to use in a low and moderate income area, we presented back to the CDBG staff something that was kind of a pedestrian improvement thing that people could do during a coronavirus type event, and kind of move about town back and forth towards rec center where services and things might be, and just do some things outside. At long last, they liked that and have said that they would consider that as an approved project if Rockingham County chose to approve this amendment and resubmit. So it's not a guarantee, but it's at long last something that they would be interested in. I think in your packet, you've got like an estimate of what we plan to do, kind of a rough layout. We cannot do all of those areas. The idea is to fix things in those areas. And then there's a CDBG budget to show that the money will come out of public services and go into pedestrian improvements. The purpose of tonight's public hearing is to gather any citizen comments prior to submitting this, should the board approve to move forward. And we will keep a record of that, submit it with the documents, and await word from the CDBG staff if everything's going to be approved. If, maybe I should save this for later, but before you open the public hearing, if you do choose to move forward, we just want you to move to authorize Lance to sign the documents that will be required over the next several months to move the project forward. Any questions or?
I just want to add, as Bill said, we tried everything we could think of, from trails to you name it, and it has to be in that low and moderate income census block. And there's several within the county, but not for instance, there is one in Reedsville. Reedsville used theirs to build that penthouse, the penthouse conference center. There's some spaces in Eden, but we couldn't, because they got their own CDBG CV grant. So this is the only other area that we really could find that they would be willing to consider.
And not trying to go through the exhausted list, because it really got old. It was so many things. You had some areas, some outdoor areas and trails. They weren't in low-income areas. We kept putting them up. We tried to show that they might serve a greater area. None of that would work, so.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and open the public hearing. We have opened the public hearing. We don't have anyone signed up to speak tonight. Is there someone here who would like to speak on this issue? I don't see anyone. So with that, we will close the public hearing, and I will ask the commissioners if there are any questions. Yeah, Commissioner.
I don't have any questions. I'm just going to point out that the Mayodan Town Manager is also in attendance, Miss Melody Schuler, so we appreciate you being here tonight for this. And I'm taking it by your appearance that Mayodan is certainly supportive of this.
Absolutely, yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay.
Very good, thank you. Any other questions? Comments? Do we have a motion?
You do, that we continue forward as described by Mr. Lester.
Do we have a second? Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Very good. Now, we need a motion to allow Lance.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, is whether that motion included the authorization for the manager to sign.
Do it as a separate motion.
Okay.
So would you make a motion then?
I would make a motion there to allow Mr. Metzler to represent the county in this matter as described.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Very good. That motion carries. I just thought it'd be cleaner to do too. Very good. Bill, anything else?
Thank y'all. I guess maybe I should go on a record that say that it was an absolute pleasure to work with Pat Galloway. I was listening to that early, and she was one of the best we've worked with, and not only her finance knowledge. If I had a question about ARPA, I would look to her for some guidance. She knew the program.
Yeah, she's a gem. Thank you, Bill. We appreciate you being here tonight. All right, our next item is Hiram Marziano, case 2024-17.
Good evening. First case we have for you is rezoning 2024-17. This is a request to rezone approximately 2.5 acre portion of a property from a mixed zone of neighborhood commercial and residential agricultural to neighborhood commercial conditional district. The remainder of the nearly 14 acre tract would stay residential agricultural. This is a conditional rezoning. It is located, there's an old address point on the property at 1658 NC Highway 704. It's on the portion being rezoned is on the corner of 704 and McCollum. At the planning board meeting in August, they did vote 3-2 to recommend approval of this request. Our vicinity map has us just outside of Wentworth. This is a zoomed out version of the zoning map. As you can see, there is a tiny little bit there. That little tiny corner is already existing neighborhood commercial. There was an old shop there. So currently it's mixed between neighborhood commercial and residential agricultural. You can see we have the landfill over to the east, that's the heavy industrial, and there is some RM up in the north. Here's our environmental map. It's just teetering on the edge of the Dan River Eden watershed. That little creek that's run through the parcel about the middle would not be affected by this rezoning or development. It's in our O2 land class, which does generally state that things should stay residential agricultural, but does have conditions for maintaining existing commercial spots, and small retail shops may be also consistent with the land use plan. Just zoom down on the parcel for you. Here we go. This is the site plan. This has already been through the technical review committee. No changes were really noted at that meeting. We just went over a few things like the driveway being off Webb Loop there to the south and west of it. This boundary line you see in the yellow in the rear, that'd be roughly where it cuts off, and that's the entire portion to become neighborhood commercial conditional district, if so approved. Again, this is our O2 land class. It is moderately consistent with the UDO. Again, citing it's already existing as neighborhood commercial there. This would just be expanding that option. They have requested to truncate the list of uses considerably down to just retail, convenience store, temporary building, and small retail. So really shrunk that list down to just being one targeted thing, which is already what technically was already there to begin with several years ago. And like I said, we went through the TRC with this. I don't remember if I put the elevation. Yeah, I did not. I'm sorry. They had a small rendering of what this potential would look like. It's in your packets. I just didn't put it in the slide. I apologize. Do you have any questions?
Not at this time. Is that your presentation for now then?
Well, yes, like I said, it's moderately consistent with the land use plan. It's consistent with the UDO. The size of the tract of land would be more than acceptable. We believe that it is fairly reasonable to be placed in this area because there's no harm with the existing neighborhood commercial there. This is just a moderate expansion of it.
Very good, thank you. Well, gentlemen, at this time, we'll open the public hearing. And we do have 5 or 6 people signed up to speak, so we'll allow our county attorney to, if you will, read the guidelines for speaking tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Anyone that signed up to speak will have 3 minutes to speak or can yield that time to another individual. However, you won't have more than 6 minutes total to speak. You can approach the podium, give your name, address, and there's a 30-minute limit for public comments at public hearings. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Well, first, we'll allow the applicant to speak if they would like, and you'll have 15 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Board. My name is Mike Fox. I'm an attorney representing the applicant here tonight. My address is 400 Belmead Street, Suite 800 in Greensboro, North Carolina. We appreciate, as always, working with your staff. They're always very good to work with, helping you through the process. And as they indicated, they are in support of this request. Really, I'm going to try to be brief and summarize here. This is really just a moderate expansion of an already existing commercial track. It's our understanding there used to be some sort of a store on there years ago, and our client intends to build a store for the use of Dollar General. And typically they lease these stores and then Dollar General operates them, but our client is the long-term owner of the land. If I could, I'm trying to see if that thing works there. Is there something magic I've got to do, Hiram, to?
Help's on the way.
Yeah, thank you. I am not the technological person. Thank you. All right, I may move that a little bit. So this is the site plan, and I think it's helpful to illustrate what's in yellow is what's already zoned, appropriately. And so really, just as you can see, the rest of the boundary is what we are asking for. The additional zoning, it's limited to that corner. The rest of it's a much larger parcel, will remain the same. And really, we needed the additional land to make it a good site, to make the access good, to provide adequate parking, to provide landscaping, et cetera. I have with me here tonight Daniel Almazan, who's with Terra Moore, who can answer any questions you may have, about the particular plans for the building. It's a fairly typical Dollar General of the kinds you've seen recently, the newer kind that would have the fresh fruits and vegetables and offer more of a variety of goods than what you would see several years ago. And I have Justin Church with me, who's an engineer with Blue Ridge Environmental. If you have any questions about the site plan itself, how the access is going to work, or how much parking is required, et cetera. So I'm happy to answer any questions and then ask Daniel just to come up and give a brief summary.
Do we have any questions yet? Let's go ahead and go to the, let the other folks who have signed up to speak, and that may generate some questions.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Okay, folks, we've got several people signed up. When you come up, please be sure to give your name and address. The first person to sign up is Bob Jordan. Please give us your name and address, sir.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Bob Jordan. I live at 1820 NC Highway 704 in Madison. We come tonight to ask you to vote no. We live about 2/10 of a mile from this property. As I look at another Dollar General coming to our area, I'm trying to think why we need this Dollar General. For tax revenue, with all the building going on, it's going to be inconsequential. I shouldn't use such a big word, though. It's not going to help very much. With all the building going on, it just won't matter, the taxes. The convenience, this is a rural community. We have cars to go to work, to go to church, and go to a store that doesn't overcharge their customers. It's convenient, yes, but overcharge, yes. Jobs, there's going to be very few jobs, and I'm sure they're very low paying. We have plenty of jobs in Rockingham County that pay a living wage. I can't think of a good reason why we need this store, and I ask you to vote no. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. The next person has been Jeff Sellers. Please make your way and give us your name and address, sir.
Jeff Sellers, 1790 Highway 704, Madison. Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Rachel Sellers is going to yield her 3 minutes to me, so I'll have 6 minutes to speak.
Very good.
Thank you. So I appreciate the opportunity to stand before you. I, along with Bob Jordan, who is a very close neighbor of mine, stand against the Dollar General being proposed here. We're for development, but we're for wise development that makes sense. It doesn't seem to me, when I do a quick Google search of Dollar General's location to my home, there's about 10 within a very reasonable driving distance. I don't think that we need another one. So the rezoning request to change this would open up some other unfortunate possibilities down the road. And unfortunately, when one of these things comes into the neighborhood, other things follow that don't really benefit the neighborhood very well. So I got a petition together, reached out to about 55 of my close neighbors who live within about a 3-mile distance of the proposed property, and just simply asked them without persuasion what their take was on this. We all agree and have a very deep love for our rural community, our rural natural landscape with agriculture, timber, with the lack of any commercial store, specifically Dollar General. It's sort of cliche nowadays. You hear it, there's another one, there's another one. You can't drive 5 miles without getting passing a Dollar General. So again, with the petition I have at hand, I emailed that ahead of time earlier today. I also have the originals here for you to take a look at if you would like to. I spoke to 55 individuals over the past week, just asking them simply, were they for or against this rezoning request and the development of a Dollar General? I had one individual out of those 55 that was in favor of it, one that was undecided, and 53 individuals signed their name to the petition standing against this rezoning request. I hope that you'll listen to the residents in the community. There's a few things on the petition. Just wanted to point out here. I don't see my time in front of me. Okay, there it is. So just want to read through a couple of these without getting too detailed. Number one, the proposed development will dramatically and detrimentally impact the peaceful and quiet enjoyment realized by the residents that live beside or near the rezoned property. As Bob Jordan mentioned, he's 0.2 of a mile. Our property is 800 feet from this proposed location. We moved to this area to be away from commercial things, to be in a quiet country setting. That's why we bought our property. It would have made a significant difference to us had a Dollar General been just down the road. And I believe that's going to be the same with most folks who are looking to move into that area and purchase property. So allowing the rezoning of this property for a Dollar General ignores the fact that we have stayed in or moved to the county and live or own property near the rezoned property precisely because we desire to live in a rural environment that does not include retail stores nearby. The next point, I believe the gentleman with the planning board mentioned the UDO, and it's moderately close. It sort of lines up. There's some vague terms there. So the Rockingham County Development Staff Report stated that the Rockingham County Land Use Plan suggests that areas in the O2 land class should generally be zoned residential agriculture, but notes that small stores may be suitable in this land class. This is not a small store. The new Dollar Generals, as are proposed here, is a very large store. They're wanting to acquire more property to allow for more parking, which is also going to add to more traffic in and out of the highway there, traffic accidents. There's a volunteer fire department right down the road that would be serving this establishment that's already overworked, overstressed, and not able to really meet the needs that are present. We're going to add a commercial establishment that's going to be much more risk involved there. So again, the UDO, the intent there is to have rural fitting development. This does not seem to be the case. There are places for Dollar General, certainly, but we don't feel like this is a good location for one of those. And then lastly, we believe that the property values, specifically because this is a residential agricultural area, is not going to be positively impacted with a Dollar General becoming a part of that environment. So thank you for your time. I hope that you will vote no against this rezoning request and listen to the voices of the residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sellers. We appreciate it. Mike, we've got Michael Fox next. You've already spoken. You can come back to rebut in just a moment. Arturo Vega, please make your way. Give us your name and address, sir.
Good evening. Name's Arturo Vega. We reside in 1611 NC Highway 704. We're the property directly across the street from the proposed site. And my concerns is from the last August hearing we had, they're requesting a rezone 2.5 acres, but they had some plans in there to subdivide that as well. So we get a Dollar General up, and who knows what else follows after that. And we just moved here in April. We spent about a year and some change just looking for the perfect location, make a home. It's me, my wife, I have 4 daughters, and I just think that that's the whole reason why I moved here, Rockingham County. And the house just has a magic to it. You can sit on the porch, see the deers, listen to the birds. I constantly have people turning in my driveway, thinking it's a road, it's an asphalt driveway. They turn in there. They're always turning around in there. This is just gonna make it 10 times worse. Not to mention all the noise and constructions, and when the building's up, or your trucks for deliveries and things of that nature. It just takes away the magic that the home has. And being the sole provider and I'm there, I work long hours. Like I said, house full of daughters, wife. I just don't think this is convenient or makes any sense for us, especially with Dollar General 5 miles down on 220, Walmart, next exit up, Food Lion, down in the Madison, downtown. We have plenty of options for groceries and shopping and things like that. I just think it's a real bad location, especially where we're at, right across from it, for the proposed store to go up. And that's all I have this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vega. We appreciate everyone who came to speak tonight. With that, we will allow the applicant to have 7 minutes to provide rebuttal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I promise I will not use all 7 minutes. I just want to make a couple points. One, the majority of this property is already zoned for such a use, so someone could go in there today and put a smaller facility in there. What we're trying to do is make the footprint a little larger so we can do a better job with that. Second, it is traditionally not the role of government to kind of choose between, this store or that store. If someone were to come in and say, I want to put a new gas station somewhere, you wouldn't hear many people coming up and saying, well, there's already 20 in the county. And so I think to some degree, this board has been very good about property rights and understanding that if it's appropriate for commercial, then it doesn't really matter what it is. The last thing I want to say is, I grew up in a rural area as well, and I can remember, I'm old enough to remember the days when there were, true country stores nearby, which had a lot of products you needed, but not everything. And those things, to a great degree, have gone to the by and by. And I know where I grew up, there's a Dollar General very near the farm that I grew up on where my parents still live. And they go there all the time, and I go there when I'm up visiting them. And it is a very handy thing, even though it would only be another 6 or 7 miles to drive into town to go to a Food Line or something like that. There's a lot of things that it's very convenient at. And we typically find in communities that folks who are concerned about it eventually become customers and appreciate it. So that's been our experience. Not everyone does, and we respect everyone's opinion. I know people move to certain areas for certain reasons, but we really do not believe that this will be a detrimental impact. As a matter of fact, we think a lot of folks will really appreciate the convenience of being able to get some fresh fruits, some fresh vegetables, and some normal household goods at a place that's convenient to them. So happy to answer any questions, and if you have any questions, Mr. Almazan or Mr. Church, they're here as well.
Well, at this point, I'm going to close the public hearing. So we have closed the public hearing, and we're going to open it up to questions by the board. Gentlemen, do we have any questions? Any questions?
I do.
Commissioner Richardson?
Counselor Fox, you or one of your colleagues can answer. How many jobs are we talking about?
Daniel, you want to come up and introduce yourself and give your address, please?
Yeah. My name is Daniel Almazan. I work at 214 Clumac Road in Salisbury, North Carolina. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. Let's see, for that size store, it is about 9 to 11 full and part-time employees.
That's not counting the construction.
No. I mean, because you're talking about, obviously, a lot more during the construction process, but then there's also the secondary or support jobs where you've got delivery drivers, you've got people who are maintaining the property. But in terms of the employees that are actually working in the stores, it's 9 to 11.
What sort of adjustments have you made? We heard some comments that I think are valid about the rural nature of the area. Every time I go from here home and vice versa, I get to check this area out, and it's pretty rural.
Right.
Are there any proposal for adjustments in your construction and siting to accommodate these concerns?
Yeah, actually, a couple of things that I want to point out. One was the fact that for our application, obviously it was conditional use or conditional district. Staff did correctly state that we were limiting the uses, but also one other thing was that the facade that was presented in your packet, that was part of the condition, so that you would actually know what it would look like. In terms of like the relationship on the property, it's also going to have a 6-foot opaque fence between the commercial property and the remaining, I guess it's rural agricultural, I believe is the adjacent zoning. And then, something to point out, the reason that it was zone neighborhood commercial was because there was a small general store there. In fact, that was one of the family members of the current owner. And so that's part of the whole nature is that you have the zoning being neighborhood commercial is a store that services the neighborhood. The whole point was not to have to go a long way in order to have to leave for those essential items. It was actually to serve those people in this community.
Yeah, I was particularly interested in the potential neighbor that's right across the road. Like most Dollar Generals, you work into the evening. Has there been any accommodation to avoid intrusion of your lighting?
Yes, as a matter of fact. There we go. I don't know how, it seems like it's zoomed. There we go. If you can see, these are full cutoff lights. So basically what they do is they only illuminate the walkway, and these are on the building, and we don't have any parking lot lights. So basically our lighting plans have zero light pollution off-site. And so the other thing is that their hours of operation are from 8 to 10, and so they're not open all night. And the same with the deliveries are always during the day. So it's minimal intrusion for the neighbors nearby.
Okay. Same question about noise. Have you made any accommodation for potential noise? As a minimum, there's going to be traffic noise.
Let's see. Maybe. Well, actually, just to kind of give you an idea, at any given point, about the most cars that I actually have a traffic study that's there, but it's a 100-page document. I won't bore you with that one. But basically, one of the things that they find is that there's never many cars in the drive, in the parking lot at any given time. Actually, the most that you'll ever see is about 15, 17, just depending on the location of the store. This is a rural store, so they wouldn't expect that many at any point.
How close is the nearest Dollar General?
I think the closest one is 2.5 miles, no. It's 3.5 miles to the east. Let me see. Do you need me to?
The one in Wentworth?
I think that's the closest, yeah.
Okay, well, I got a good handle on that.
Okay.
Now, maybe this is a little nebulous there.
That's okay.
How much of the traffic that normally comes to the one you're talking about that's right over here is going to go to, do you anticipate going to this store?
The trade area, which is what they call it, the trade areas that service those are usually within about a 2-mile radius. And so maybe one of the attributes that a lot of people complain about in terms of that there are a lot of Dollar General stores is because people don't travel a long way to go to a Dollar General stores. In fact, one of the key components of their marketing plan is that they work off of existing traffic. And so because they don't rely on people coming a long distance for a store, because they just want people to stop by on their way to work, school, or church, I mean, obviously, the whole point is convenience, and so they don't pull traffic from a very big area. Did that answer your question?
Well, yeah, I guess it's an answer there, but I thought the Dollar General model was 5 minutes between stores. This is not 5 minutes.
I guess that would, I guess 5 minutes is relative, depending on the speed. If you're going 55, it could be a ways away.
No, we're not going to get into that. That's all I've got.
Very good. Commissioner Powell, do you have questions?
I do. I believe that the business plan for Dollar General is to become the country store, to kind of fill that void. And while I grew up with country stores, and Dollar General certainly doesn't look like a country store that I visited, that is the norm for today. It appears that the country stores that we grew up with are a thing of the past, and probably because the cost to start one and the profitability of it is probably not what it was in the past. So, and the last thing, I believe, Mr. Fox, you made this statement. Part of this lot is already zoned for neighborhood business or neighborhood commercial. So it would be conceivable that you could, if you chose to, and it fits your business model, you could reduce the size of the store somewhat and still put it there without action by this board. Is that correct? That's what your understanding? And so what we're doing tonight is actually looking at about 7/10 of an acre, somewhere in there, that we would be changing the zoning on to match the current zoning that's already there. And this would be the adjacent property. I'm summarizing that correctly.
Right.
Thank you, sir. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Very good. Any other comments? Questions? Very good. Well, if there are no more questions, we'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion for approval, and my rationale on that is it is sitting on a highway. I believe Commissioner Powell pointed out one of the other main factors, and that is that a portion, maybe a good portion of this is already zoned the same way they're asking to rezone the rest of that property. And I believe that neighborhood commercial certainly fits with the idea of the definition in this area, the definition of neighborhood commercial. So with that, I'd make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Very good. Thank you. Our next item is case 2024-18. Mr. Marziano?
Yes, this is 2024-18. This is a request to rezone a property from neighborhood commercial conditional district to residential agricultural. This is located at 163 Harrison Crossroad Loop. It's just north of Reedsville. This technically is a conditional rezoning as it's currently conditional, but going to standard rezoning. So the planning board at their August meeting did vote 5-0 to recommend approval of this request, citing consistency and reasonableness. Here we are just north of Reedsville. The zoning, you can see this was rezoned in 2019 to neighborhood commercial conditional district. At the time, the owners wanted to do a antique shop with live work unit. I believe the property is being sold and the people just want to have their house and just be a house. So neighborhood commercial not allowing for single family residential at this point. RA would be a best option. You can see right here, it's surrounded by residential agricultural. There's some RP to the east and north and a little bit of highway commercial over there on 14. Just a brief aerial with the land use map. This is another O2 land class, which does, of course, recommend properties be zoned residential agricultural. Just zoomed into the property as it currently stands. The size is fine. Uses allowed in the district are indicative of those around the surrounding area. So staff and the planning board did recommend approval, citing consistency and reasonableness. And I'll take any questions if you have them.
Well, let me go ahead and open the public hearing. We're opening the public hearing. No one has signed up to speak. With that, and we don't need to have rebuttal. I don't think we have a property owner here, do we? So we'll close the public hearing. And gentlemen, do we have any questions?
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Very good. Thank you, sir. All right, item 11 has been removed. Mr. Manager, do we have any new business?
Yes, sir.
With that, we'll move on to commissioner comments. Commissioner Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's gotten kind of quiet in here, but for those of you watching, our thanks to those people that did attend, including those that expressed their concern over the rezoning and hearing our presentations. I'd like to recognize the large number of volunteers and professionals that support the citizens of our county with organizations serving as adult leaders for 4-H and similar, Boys Club and so forth. I think you can see that it's had a very positive impact on certainly the youngsters that we saw tonight. And congratulations to our young Rockingham County citizens for their success in 4-H. I'd also like to recognize another employee of Rockingham County, and that's Mrs. Jennifer Woods, who serves as the executive assistant there, our county manager. She's also worked in Eden in a similar sort of position there with their administration, and she served as clerk to the board for the county commissioners here. And she's now serving as an assistant, and she is generally an assistant to everybody within this building. And her service has been exemplary, and she has made a very positive presentation, a very positive image of our county to the numerous visitors that come into this county to do business and to find out what's going on. So I'm very pleased to have had Jennifer Woods as one of our clerks here. She did a marvelous job, and I would point her out as an example of another stellar employee of the Rockingham County. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. We appreciate your comments, and yes, we do appreciate Jennifer as well. With that, we'll go to Commissioner Berger.
Well, thank everyone for coming out tonight, and certainly special thank you to the young people who participate in 4-H. It's a great program that provides them with some opportunities they wouldn't otherwise have. Something else that just trying to stay on top of, this past year we had a significant issue pertaining to insurance. Premiums increased by $190,000 when we deal with, I believe it was officer liability insurance. And the deductible went from $10,000 to $200,000. And our job as a board is to try to stay on top of any, and as a manager, is to try to stay on top of any potential financial issues before they come forward. So what that means as far as the deductible increase is any incident that is reported during the insurance coverage period, our deductible is $200,000 per incident. Now, on September the 5th, emailed to me was a copy of a report that was put together by the Department of Health and Human Services as far as an inspection of the jail. That report was dated in April, and I believe April the 4th was the date the survey was completed, and the letter was apparently sent to the county and to the Sheriff's Department on April the 15th with a number of things with a plan of correction. There's a few things in there. Anytime there's an inspection that is a concern, or maybe should not be or maybe not a huge issue, they're always going to cite you for something. I mean, no question, but some of the things in there were concerning. One particular thing was a sprinkler system not in compliance, specifically a sprinkler head had been removed. So when that report came to me and I read it, I reached out to the county manager and asked whether or not that had been fixed. On the report, it indicates that the part had been ordered. And when I asked the manager about that, I believe your response was that maintenance
didn't know anything about it, so we had Billy Booker with the head of maintenance to order that.
Okay, and so, I mean, there's some things in there that I think we just need to stay on top of. Also in there had to do with all cells throughout the facility had graffiti on the walls and ceilings, which I then called the district attorney and asked whether or not she could recall anyone being prosecuted for destructing county property and taxpayer property. She did not have any recollection of any prosecution. I reached out to the county manager, and
I haven't heard anything either.
I believe you got a response back that there's so much graffiti on the walls, it'd be hard to say whether or not an inmate that was in the cell at the time was the one that put any additional graffiti on the walls. So I would ask that county manager and county attorney do some research of the last time someone was prosecuted for putting graffiti on the walls. And I don't know if there's anything else in that report that perhaps a risk management person needs to be made aware of. Maybe he needs to do some research on that. But I believe they're also due back soon.
Yes, they come twice a year, about every 6 months.
Okay. Can we make sure that we get a copy whenever that
Sure.
is sent to you?
If you want those from here on out, I can certainly forward those to you, and also the response that the Sheriff's Department has back.
Okay. Well, I think we've got to do our duty in making sure that things are done as far as trying to reduce those insurance premiums moving forward. I mean, there was some things also in the report about visibility in the cells, sheets hanging up, that sort of thing. So, we've had some issues there, so I just think we need to do all we can to stay on top of it and make sure we've getting those reports.
Sure.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Powell?
So tonight, I don't believe we had any elected officials here. Didn't see anybody out in the audience. So I'd like to talk just a minute about that 4-H club. I believe that Senator Berger is a big supporter of our 4-H club in Rockingham County and has provided some funding for it. In addition to that, I can tell you that about a year ago, I had the opportunity of representing that bunch at a meeting in Asheboro where NC State, who administers the 4-H program in the state of North Carolina, was proposing to make some rule changes that really did not reflect the values of Rockingham County citizens. And I reached out to Senator Berger, Representative Pirtle, and together with them and going to this meeting, we were able to put a hold on those changes and allow these children to come here and take part in the 4-H camp in the summertime without having to deal with the proposed changes that NC State was trying to propose and push over on the county. In addition to that, the 28th of this month, September the 28th, on Saturday, is our Youth Outdoor Day. I think this one's going to be even bigger than last year. We've got, kids will be able to do bow shooting exhibitions, fishing, NC Wildlife will be there. We'll have 22 rifle shooting. There'll be gifts to be won there, including a gun. Ruger is always good about supplying us with a .22 rifle. And this year will be no exception to that. And so we will look forward to seeing you there. That'll be at the Reidsville Police Club on Police Lake Road off of Holiday Loop Road. And it starts at 9 o'clock. We'll run to about 2 o'clock. And we promise you that your children will have a great time. There'll be a lot of guests there. This year we'll be actually having speakers to hold many classes on things such as deer hunting and fishing and bow hunting and those kind of things. So we have a list of that stuff out on our website here at the county. If you would like to take a look at it, if it's something you're particularly interested in, it'll give you the time that'll start. And otherwise, you can come spend the day with us. We'll be cooking hot dogs and hamburgers on the grill and providing them for our guests and their parents, the children and their parents. So we look forward to seeing you there. Please come out. It's a great opportunity to get kids off the phone and out into learning about nature. And we look forward to it. And we thank all those that were here tonight. And God bless you and have a good night.
Thank you, Commissioner Powell. We appreciate everyone who came tonight. Our next meeting will be October 7th at 6:30 here in the Commissioner Chambers. We encourage everyone to attend or tune in. We appreciate that. So with that, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Do we have a second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Very good. We're adjourned. Thank you, folks.